Good evening, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari, on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on philosophy of Sankhya, I had discussed about the epistemology and axiology of Sankhya. Today, in my present video, I am going to discuss about the metaphysics of philosophy of Sankhya. Sankhya is one of the six orthodox schools of Hindu philosophy. Sage Kapil is traditionally credited as the founder of the Sankhya school. It is regarded as one of the oldest philosophical systems in India. Metaphysics of Sankhya. Sankhya is a dualistic realism doctrine of two ultimate reality, Purush and Prakriti. Sankhya is realist as it holds that both matter and spirit are specially real. With regard to self, Sankhya is pluralistic. Prakriti and Purush are the two main elements. Purush and Prakriti are supposed to be completely independent, and Purush is transcendental, self, and pure consciousness. Absolute, independent, free, imperceptible, and unknowable through other agencies. Purush is neither produced nor it produces anything. Purush is also eternal, but it is conscious and it is cooperative element of the Prakriti. Purush is mere consciousness and it cannot be changed or modified. Prakriti. Prakriti refers to the primary and precedes what is made. It comes from pra, before, and kri, to make, also known as pradhan or the chiefs, since all effects are found on its basis and it is the root of all objects and universe. Prakriti has no cause but is the cause of all effects. Prakriti is all pervading, eternal, and immovable. It is one. By all the products are cause and dependent, Prakriti is independent and uncaused. It depends only on the activity of its own constituents, guns, metaphysical properties. Sankhya provides 5 proofs for the existence of Prakriti, which are as follows. Number 1 is all individual things in the world are limited, dependent, conditional, and finite. The finite cannot be the cause of universe. Logically, we have to proceed from the finite to the infinite, from the limited to the unlimited, from the person to the attributed person, and from the temporary to the permanent, from the many to one. And it is this finite, unlimited, eternal, and all-pervading Prakriti which is the source of this universe. Vadhanam Parinimonat. Second one is Prakriti is said to be the unity of 3 guns, Satya, Rajas, and Tamas, held in equilibrium. Gunanam Samyavestha. Their effect is inferred as pleasure, pain, and indifference and possesses the quality of lightness, activity, and heaviness. They alone are called substantiatives because they are subservient to the end of the Purush or because they are intertwined 3 strands to make up a rope or Prakriti which binds Purush. All effects rise from the activity of the potent cause. Evolution means the manifestation of the implicit as the explicit. The activity which generates evolution must be in the world cause, and this is karya yatah pratvecha. The effect differs from the cause, and hence the limit effects cannot be considered to be as its own cause. The effect is the explicit, and the cause is the implicit state of the same process. The effect therefore points to the attributed world cause where they are potentially unattained. The 5th one is the unity of the universe points to the attribute single cause, and this cause is Prakriti. All worldly things possess certain common characteristics by which they are capable of producing pleasure, pain, and indifference. Hence, there must be a common source composed of 3 guns from which all worldly things arise. Samanyavatya. Everything in the universe is an unstable composition of 3 kinds of substances, technically called as guns or attributes: thought, movement, and change or transformation. Every object or individual of the world has three gun, and they affect the thinking and doing of all the individuals. It is composed of three essential attributes, that is Sat, which is called knowledge or light, Raj, or action or activity, and Tam, indicative of inhibition, heaviness, and indolence. This philosophy believes that for creation, union of spirit and matter is necessary. Subsequently, this Sankhya philosophy began to be regarded as synonym of knowledge. Therefore, Sankhya has been called as a way of knowledge. Hence, it is also prevailed as Gyan Marg or path of knowledge. Just as Sat, Chit, and Anand is the Vedanta trinity, the Guns are the Sankhya trinity. The verbal meaning of Gun is cord. The Gun bind the soul with a triple bond. They are the actual substances or ingredients of which Prakriti is constituted. They are the foundation behind the evolution of the whole world out of the Prakriti. The three driving forces of Prakriti do not exist in equal quantities but vary in proportion where one force may supersede other. Interaction between the three gun result in evolution, but the three gun are not completely separate. They are intermingled with, act on, and support one another. They are closely related to one another as the flame, the oil, and the wick of the lamp are related. Since they form the very basis of Prakriti, all the objects in the world, evolution and manifestation of these three gun. Destruction is simply non-manifestation. Purush is the witness, and the Prakriti evolves under the influence of Purush. Just as to make a rope, three threads or blocks are found together, similarly these three attributes, Sat, Raj, and Tam, mingled together in various proportions, are needed to form different objects. The position of these attributes give rise to some activity or consequences. These consequences may be of three classification: Dharma Parinam, Lakshan Parinam, and Avastha Parinam. Satogun, or purity, light, and harmony. It literally means real and existent. Principle of goodness produces pleasure plus eliminating and causes upward movement. Its color is white. Sattva possesses qualities of fineness, lightness, illumination, and joy. Sattva contains intelligence. When Sattva prevails, the man remains calm and tranquil and reflects and meditates. It makes a man divine and noble. So, dominance of Sattva causes the evolution of 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, and the mind. Rajas, Gun, passion, activity, and motion. It literally means foulness. Rajas is the cause of action in the evolutes. Principle of motion and goodness, pain, restless activity, and feverish effort. Its color is red. Rajas exhibit qualities of movement, dynamism, activity, excitement, and pain. Rajas contains energy. When Rajas dominates him, he does various worldly activities and remains passionate and active. Rajas makes him thoroughly human and selfish. Tamas, that is also called inertia, darkness, inertness, and inactivity, literally means darkness and opposed to Sattva and Rajas. It produces apathy, lethargy, ignorance, confusion, and negativity. Dominance of Tamas triggers the evolution of 5 subtle elements, that is sound, touch, sight, taste, smell, from self-consciousness. These 5 subtle elements are themselves evoluents and causes the creation of the 5 gross elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth. All three coexist always found intermingled and in continuous conflict. Whichever dominates brings out its quality in objects. Purush, the other of the two co-present, co-eternal realities of Sankhya, is the Purush, the principle of pure consciousness. Purush, the verbal meaning of Purush, is one who pervades through the body or universe. It is also known as spirit, self or individual, Atma, and universal self, Paramatma. Purush soul is independent, supreme, eternal, intelligent, pure consciousness, infinite and harmoniously arranged. The Purush is beyond Prakriti. Purush or spirit has neither beginning nor end. It is without attributes and qualities. It is beyond time, space, and causality. Purush is the eternal seer which is perfect and absolute. It is pure consciousness, Chidrupa. The Purush nature is constant and free, untouched by pleasure and pain. Purush in this soul, the self is the spirit, the ultimate knower and foundation of all knowledge, but indifferent and inactive. It is neither body, nor senses, nor brain, nor mind or manas, nor ego or ahankar, nor intellect, buddhi, nor substance that possesses consciousness, but pure consciousness itself. Above space and time, merit and demerit, change and activity, bondage and liberation, eternally free, that is Nitya Mukta. It is itself pure and transcendental consciousness. It is called Nistraya Gunya, Udasin, Akarta Karvala, Madhya Kayastha, Sakshi, Drishta, Sada Prakasha, Swarupa, and Gyata. Sankhya gives the following 5 fruits for the existence of Purush. Theology or purposive. All compound objects exist for the sake of the Purush. The body, the sense, mind, and intellect are all means to realize the end of the Purush. The 3 gun, the Prakriti, the subtle body, all are said to serve the purpose of the self. Evolution is teleological or purposive. Prakriti evolves itself in order to serve the purpose of the self. This proof is teleological. Logical. All objects are composed of the 3 guns, and therefore it logically presupposes the existence of Purush, who is the witness of the gun and is himself beyond them. This proof is logical. The 3 guns imply the conception of Nistraya Gunya, that which is beyond them. Signs of being or reality, ontological. There must be attributed transcendental synthetic unity of pure consciousness to coordinate all experiences. All knowledge necessarily presupposes the existence of the self. The self is the foundation, adhisthana, the fundamental postulate of all empirical knowledge. All affirmation and all negative equally presupposes it. Without it, experience would not become experience. This proof is ontological. Religious. There are persons who try to attain release from the suffering of the world. The desire for liberation and emancipation presupposes the aspirants. Thus, proof is mystical or religious. Ethical. Non-intelligent Prakriti cannot experience its own product. So there must be intelligent principle to experience the worldly products of Prakriti. Prakriti is enjoyed, bhogya, so there must be an enjoyer, bhokta. All objects of the world have the characteristics of producing pleasure, pain, and bewilderment. But pleasure, pain, and bewilderment have meaning only when there is attributed conscious principle to experience them. Purush must exist. This argument is ethical. They explain this teleology with the help of an anthology of lame and blind person, just as they cooperate to cross the forest. Prakriti, like a lame man mounted on a blind man's shoulder in order to be whole, the phenomena of creation which Prakriti is not able to observe. Hence, it may be said that the process is the witness, sakshi, a spectator, drishta, a bystander, madhyastha, and solitary, kavale, passive and indifferent, udasin. Evolution. The idea of evolution in Sankhya revolves around the interaction of Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti remains unmanifested as long as the three guns are in equilibrium. Sankhya maintains that effects are essentially identical with their material cause. Since the material cause of the world is Prakriti, therefore its effect, all things also have a gun of the Prakriti. When all the three guns remain in activated state of equilibrium before evolution is called Sanyavastha, it is real and true nature of Prakriti. When the equilibrium of Prakriti is disturbed, evolution starts, called Pralayavastha, a state of the dissolution of the world, homogeneous changes. Sattva changes into Sattva, Rajas changes into Rajas, and Tamas changes into Tamas. Vishamavastha is starting point of the world's evolution when Samyavastha is disturbed. When conjugation occurs between Prakriti and Purush, heterogeneous changes and the gun try to overdominate each other. The Sankhya system held that the creation cannot be made of one entity alone and that it is the union of two entities, nature and God. One cannot clap with one hand, one needs two hands to clap. The process by which the simple or subtle elements combine to produce the gross elements is as follows. From the essence of sound, Shabd Tanmat emerges Akash. From Akash and subtle elemental touch arises air. From these two and elemental taste emerges water. From these above and the elemental odor comes out the earth. This is the primary evolution in the nature where the raw material for the manifestation of creation of objective world is evolved. The beginning of the world is a result of secondary transformation of the gross elements. The process of Srishti or creation. Prakriti, first among the elements, is the state of equipoise of Sat, Rajas and Tamas. From Prakriti emerges the Mahat or intellect which causes self-consciousness. From self-consciousness, a set of 16, that is 11 senses and 5 tanmatras are merged. This set of 16 originate the 5 subtle elements, that is earth, water, fire or light, air and ether. These 5 continents become the material cause for the production of all living and non-living beings on this earth. The process of pralay or involution. During dissolution of the world, the products returned by the reverse movement into the preceding stages of development and ultimately into Prakriti. Earth emerges in its cause in water, water in fire, fire in air, air in space, space in Antakaran, Antakaran in Mahat and Mahat in Prakriti. This is the process of involution. There is no end to sansar or the play of Prakriti. This cycle of evolution and involution neither has a beginning nor an end. There is no philosophical place for a creator God in the Sankhya philosophy. Bond and liberation. Liberation comes from through experience in contact with Prakriti and its Maya illusion. After long attachment to knowledge of differences about Prakriti and Purush is called by them Vivek or consciousness. The conscious knowledge of Vivek Gyan is the only means for liberation, moksha. By transcending the Prakriti, the empirical self assumes its original status. Moksha or liberation is just the complete cessation of all pain without the possibility of return. It is the state of pure bliss and consciousness. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Purush is pure consciousness above space and time, merit and demerit, bondage and liberation, eternally free, Nitya Mukta. Whenever there are guns, there are pains. Even so-called pleasure leads to pain. Even life in heaven is subject to the gun and hence pain. The Sankhya states liberation as complete cessation of all suffering, which is the highest end of life, a parvaya liberation due to the right knowledge or discrimination between self and non-self. Good actions may lead to heaven and bad actions to hell, but both are subject to pain like this worldly life. Liberation cannot be obtained by means of karma, good or bad or indifferent. It is the function of gun and hence lead to bondage. There exists a separate prakriti known as moksha or salvation to break this bondage and to recognize the existence. After assuming the state, the Purush considers itself detached. Even after obtaining salvation, the body is not destroyed immediately due to the impression of the previous birth. Then the sadhak or devotee is in Jivan Mukt, life-free state. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video and don't forget to subscribe.